lovely gurus, my soul traveling gurus. How are you guys doing? All right, I know it's been a minute from since I've been on a live. It's the holiday season, y'all. I'm actually in the midst of. I'm actually in the midst of getting. Hold on, that should not be happening. I'm actually in the midst of packing to go see my mom, so I leave. My flight takes off at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I want to go ahead and tap on and check into the energy really quickly, and just give you guys some updates. So give me 1 second, my wonderful, lovely gurus. I hope you guys have been having really, really good energy. Hi, my lovely. Wishing you well also. Give me 1 second. I have to pull the chat up so I can be able to see you guys clearly. So give me 1 second. All right, and then we're gonna get into this message. Okay, perfect. Now I can see the chat. Thank you. Can I just tell you something? So before we get into this, so my mom is really funny. Okay, my mom. I am 49 years old, and my mom still likes to shop for me. Okay, so my mom's birthday is coming up on Thursday, so I'm flying out to see my mom tomorrow. And she told me, y'all, just to come on with the clothes I have on my back and bring an empty suitcase because she's been shopping for me, okay? So I'm super excited to go see my mom and with my empty suitcase because my mama got some clothes for me and some shoes, okay? So, and if you know, my mama can shop, y'all, okay? Talking about she got some nice lingerie for me, and I'm single, y'all. Okay, so I guess she's speaking things into existence because she said she got some nice lingerie that she know I like, and so super excited to go see my mom. All right, so while I'm shuffling these cards, I do want to give a quick update, my loves. Okay. We are going to be tapping into the 12-fold archetype, the mastery of the 12, all right? Whether it's the 12 zodiacs, the 12 disciples, the 12 disciplines, the 12 rainbows, the 12 dragons, the 12 spectrums of light, which is the rainbow. We're going to be tapping into all of that starting on the 21st. Here's what I have been finding on my end is a little bit challenging, right? Because there's so much information and because this is from all realms of any spiritual, whether it's text or any spiritual system, right? So we're linking all the systems here, right? I have to find a way that I can bring it to you where I'm not overloading your nervous system. What I started doing a few weeks ago was bringing it to you, but I realized that instead in meditation, I was told I can't bring all of that to you in 12D. I have to bring it to you in 4D and 5D, which is, and I'll explain what 4 and 5D and all of that stuff means as we continue. But I need to be able to not overload your nervous system, okay? And as we go through the next year, you're going to understand why. You are waking up. You are the ancient technologies. There's a lot of distortion out. And pretty much all our lives, right? We've been told half truth all our lives. And even the truth that we've been told, a lot of the truth have been distorted, okay? So you're at a place in your life where you're waking up now, or I don't even want to use the word waking up. You're at a place in your life now where you're remembering. And some of the things that you're remembering may feel like a movie or may feel like a fairy tale or may feel like you're imagining things, right? So different lifetimes, different lineage gifts that you have are bleeding through, okay? And you're going to see this accelerating, especially when we get into 2026, okay? And I'll explain all of the timelines and what you're going through because you're not crazy, all right? Goddess J, let's see. I apologize for the sidetracking, but where else do you teach? Provide services stream when you get a chance. Okay, all right, perfect. Okay. So Goddess J, let me just tell you, I do have over 1,200 videos on this channel, okay? Now you're gonna find that I have changed and morphed over the since 20, when did I start this channel? 2018, okay? My goal when I started this channel was to help people to heal emotionally. But I also knew that I did not want to get stuck in a role as a traditional tarot reader, because tarot to me is just one way of you tapping in to all of the spiritual tools in your toolbox, okay? So I don't need tarot to read energy, but I didn't want to get stuck in the category of just being a tarot reader, okay? So in 2021 or maybe early 2020, I had to tap out. Like I gave where the energy was heading to. I think we were already in the midst of COVID. I gave what the energy was heading to. I gave what was going to unfold, and we are now in that unfolding. But I stepped back for a couple of years. Now I am back because I am needed at this moment to help you guys to understand the remembering of self and how you are the ancient technology, and your nervous system is the key to help you to unlock the dormant DNA, okay? I am going to explain to you everything, but I have to be able to do it in a way where you're receiving it, because I don't have to really give you all of the technology, the technicalities, like the math behind stuff, right? All you really need is to understand this is the system, this is how the system operates, and this is how the system translates into your experience, okay? Now, with that being said, the foundation that I've been building for the past couple of weeks, we're going to have to kind of rewind a little bit, okay? I started off by talking about resonance physics and how that plays out in your day-to-day life. I started out by telling you that your words create sacred geometry. I started out by telling you and explaining to you that you are not crazy, you're remembering, okay? This is why time feels like it's speeding up. This is why you feel like things don't make sense. This is why you feel disinterested in some things. And for some of you, this is why you're experiencing things in your body, right? A lot of your kundalini energy is starting to spin at the base of your spine. A lot of you are having different ascension, or AKA remembering things happening in your body as your nervous system is taking in more light, aka more electricity, the sun, what they call AI Atlas and A6 Lemon, these comics, okay? All of these things affect you because you are a light being, okay? And let me rewind some. First, you are a sound being that transmits light. Okay, so let's just get this first, because science is also going to come to a place where they have to start studying sound first. Sound produces light. So your words produces light, aka sacred geometry, aka you are now tapping into the 3D and 4D. The 4D is where you're remembering past lives, okay? 4D deals with time. The 5D is when you can begin to tap into changing your reality, okay? And the science is simple. All of your great books and all of the sages and all of the, the ancient texts and all of your spiritual texts talk about this particular thing, that your words have energy. Speak those things that are good. You want to focus and imagine things that are beautiful, because the ancient secret is you create your reality. And you create your reality 3 ways. Let me explain to you how you've been creating reality and you have not maybe known this, okay? 3 ways that you create a reality. Everything in reality is threefold, whether you call it the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, or whether you're doing it on the end of the Indian version, the Hindu version, which I cannot remember the top of my head right now, but I'll have to submit that in another video for you guys, because I can't remember off the top of my head. But no matter what spiritual system you go to, they always have a threefold system. And I am going to deal right now with the system that I grew up on, which was the Christian system, which is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, okay? The Holy Ghost is what you would call mother, okay? Or the sacred mother, okay? Or Sophia, okay? So just so you know, you cannot have a father, the child, without a mother. All right, so mother is the missing principle, aka the feminine energy. All right, and let me just go ahead and debunk a myth right here. The feminine energy is rising, but we're in the Aquarian age, and the Aquarian age is masculine energy. So let me show you how this is playing out in your reality, okay? The Aquarian age is masculine energy. Aquarius is masculine energy, all right? Masculine energy is all about electricity. It is all about spark. It is all about that initial protection, right? So the Aquarian age is here essentially to protect the feminine energy as it rises. This is the era of knowing, inner gnosis. You don't need books, okay? Not to say that you don't want to read books and you don't want to study. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that inner truth that you're looking for. You don't really need a book to tell you the inner truth that you're looking for, because that inner truth first is going to get validation internally and then get verification externally through any books that you read, okay? Just so you know. I'm going to pause right here and then just tap into the chat for a second and then, okay. Okay, Goddess J said, yes, we've been meditating with you for, okay, so Goddess J, you are, okay, so Goddess J, you like a day one. Goddess J, let me just tell you something over here. I don't get caught up in misspelled words, okay? I see things backwards and misspelled words all the time. Thank God for smartphones. Oh, you love the meditation? I'm bringing those back. I am going to be bringing the meditations back in the new year, okay? So, the first foundation I do need to go ahead and establish before the 21st is prisms versus prison, okay? The earth, you know, in the spiritual community, you may have heard earth is a prison, right? You locked into earth. Earth is a prison. Earth is not a prison. Okay, earth is a prism. Prism. It is a 12-band prism, which means a 12-band color of light. Okay, so the source light, which would be the white light that you see here, most people talk about, like in near-death experience, when you transition over from the physical body. You have a lot of people that talked about the white light. The white light is what you call source light. Okay. But when source light is refracted into what we call earth, because earth is a place where you can experience each one of these prisms of light that carry a vibration that match your chakras, that match your zodiacs, that match your disciples, that match your discipline, okay, which are all in 12, okay? So, earth is not a prison that you are locked into. And if you are moving into 4 and 5D energy, you need to understand that you are not locked here. Let me say that again. Earth is not a prison that you are locked into, that you've been taught. Earth is a prism. Prism. Do your research and look it up. It is a fractal band of 12 light beams. Okay, each one of these light beams carry a particular energy and a particular frequency, and within each one of these light beams there are different dimensions, there are different frequencies and different hertz in which you can vibrate. Okay, so we're going to start there. You cannot move into this new energy thinking that you are trapped. Because if you think you are trapped, that is an indication that you are still operating from a fear-based survival type energy, which is 3D. Okay? Third dimensional is the energy where you begin to operate in the physical realm, where you begin to understand your emotional body. Okay? Fourth dimensional realm is where you begin to deal with time and your memory starts to come back. Fifth dimensional realm is where you begin to understand that you can manipulate and control your reality. None of this is happening externally first. All of this is first happening externally. Well, I think I said that wrong. None of this is happening externally first. All of this is first happening internally. And the first foundation that you need to understand internally is that you are not locked into anything. And you know what's interesting? Because even my taste for spiritual teachings from since 2020 has changed. Like a lot of, like, and even with the channel messages, the new guys that have shown up, okay? The new things that have awakened within me. The memory that has now come back, right? I am not so much caught up in any of the spiritual teachings that is founded on separation. So if you out here and you're not teaching unity consciousness, you're not teaching the truth, bottom line. I'm going to say that again. If you're out here and you're not teaching unity consciousness, you're not teaching the truth. If you're out here and you're still teaching separation, you're not teaching the truth. And I'm not talking about unity consciousness, talking about kumbaya where you embrace everybody externally. No. I'm talking about unity consciousness where you first understand before you can ever embrace anybody. You have to first embrace yourself. So unity consciousness begins within you. Understanding your masculine and your feminine side. Masculine aspect of your thoughts, your thinking, your choices, your logical side. Feminine aspect, your emotions, your feelings, your intuitive nature, your creativity. As you were stepping into the Quasi era, okay? And the Quasi era, by the way, is just it's a quantum era where you begin to understand how the system really works. This is an era where all the truth really begins to surface. Everything is happening on a quantum level. So you are not crazy. Some days I wake up and I'm like, well, shit, I can't even remember what day of the week it is because one, I work from home, okay? And two, it says Monday, but this don't feel like a Monday. It feels more like a Wednesday or maybe even a Saturday. And then you're thinking you're crazy because the day that it is don't feel like the day that it is. No, my love, you're not crazy. You're dimensional drifting. And not only you're dimensional drifting, a lot of you are operating from timelines that you haven't even caught up to you physically yet. Now, this is what's going to fuck people up coming into 2026. This is the shit right here that's going to mess people up. Right? Deja vu experiences are going to increase. Everything is operating at a quantum level. And if without math, let's just take away math, okay? Let's just take away math. Now, yeah, I'm supposed to be cleaning and doing laundry and stuff, y'all, because I told y'all I'm getting on a plane in the morning. So if I gave my stuff until my dryer stops and I got to transfer the clothes over because that's like a whole hour. All right, so I'm going to try and get in as much as I can before my dryer stops. Okay, yeah, so think about it like this, okay? The veil, if you want to call it the veil, if you want to call it the matrix, if you want to call it the simulation, if you want to call it the coming of the great one, whatever the hell you want to call it, it really don't matter because it's all going in the same direction. Okay, it really doesn't matter, okay? All of you are soul traveling gurus. Everything from now moving forward, if you are on the path to really step into your guru mastery, you need to understand that you are going to be gravitating towards things based on resonance and stepping away from things based on resonance. Okay? Everything from here on out is resonance based. Everything here on out first is going to show up in your subtile bodies, aka your emotional or mental body, before you actually see it on the physical plane. But the thing is, if you don't know how to read those energy, especially when they're communicating with the physical body, you could get lost in some shit. Let me give you an example. If you're walking around with back pain, lower back pain, a lot of pelvic hip fluid, and especially if you've been doing your work, more than likely your kundalini is rising, okay? But let's say you're not doing your work. Let's say you're not doing your work, right? But you still have a lot of that lower back pain, pelvic area, right? That's root chakra energy. And by the way, root chakra is not your first chakra. That's your second chakra. We're going to get into all of that too, okay? Because this whole shit, They don't like the shit has been scrambled so you can be scrambled. Okay, but we're remembering, and as I remember, I'm gonna share. Okay, if your root chakra is out of balance or overactive, that is gonna fuck with the pain in your lower back. Let me tell you what's connected to the root chakra. You're welcome, Goddess J. I appreciate you too, Goddess J. Let me tell you what energy your root chakra holds. That is your survival or flight mode. That is your fear placement. That is the place where anxiety stores itself. That is the place where trauma stores itself. Okay, hold on one second, y'all. Hey, sweetie. You on your way home? Okay. All right, baby. All right, I love you. I love you too, baby. Bye. Sorry, y'all. My son. Okay, so fight or flight mode, right? Base chakra energy. Your money also lives in your base chakra. So if you're having money issues, that's also going to mess with your base chakra. If you have unforgiveness, base chakra energy. Okay? So your body's already signaling to you based on whatever maybe aches in your joints or whatever maybe inflammation you have going on. Your body is signaling to you what part of your AKA temple. Okay, because a lot of the ancient teachers taught that your body is a temple. Some of them taught that your body is a church, right? But it tells you what part of your body's out of alignment and why. And you don't really need to know all of the formulas, like I said, but all you really need to know is that this stuff affects you. So if you're walking around and you have pain in your lower back, my question to you is, are you in survival mode or are you in surrender mode, understanding that you don't have to really stress in this energy? The way out or the way to the other side or the way to get to the next step of this is not by stressing, it's actually by relaxing. We talked about it the other day, right? The other day we talked about how meditation happens all day, every day. You are not just meditating when you sit and close your eyes and put on some meditation music. No. Meditation means to repeat something over and over, to mutter, to repeat over and over again in your head. So if you're worried all day about what bills you got to pay, if you're worried about, how you're going to take care of this particular problem, how you're going to take care of this particular relationship, and this is what's replaying in your head all day, my love, that's called meditation. Meditation is not just about you sitting with your eyes closed. That's another myth. You meditate all day, every day. Meditation is simply what is looping and replaying in your mind. Now, here's what you need to understand, right? There is mindful meditation where you are literally paying attention to what's in your mind. And there's mindless meditation where you just let your mind run random on the worries, on the fears. Anxiety within the next 5 years is going to reach an all-time high, especially in the younger generation. Especially in the younger generation, because a lot of the younger generation don't have any social skills. So when they get around other energetic beings, so when they're in the presence of other people, hey Kim. So when they're in the presence of other people and they start to activate each other, or they start to tap into somebody else's energetic field, and they feel weird and they feel different, they're thinking it's their anxiety, but they don't know that they may be an indigo or a rainbow baby, so they picking up on somebody else's shit. See, my age group, I just made 49. My age group, we had no choice but to have social skills, right? The internet wasn't popping until I was in my 20s. And even at that point, it was still dial up. It wasn't all this access that we have right now. So not only has the way we communicate changed, the way that energy has been moving and shifting and elevating and unfolded and helping you to remember has changed. Has changed. And let me just go ahead and give you something else that you need. This is not a race, my love. You are not racing. And because you are not in a prison, but a prism, guess what? You don't have to fucking compete with nobody. That's the beautiful thing about there is no competition with nobody. So if you're just jumping on, if you're doing replay, let me tell you the foundation of this live before we even get into the cards, okay? When we come into 2026, you may feel like you're going crazy because your memory is going to start to play out like maybe you're imagining things. Your lifetimes of past are going to start bleeding in. Things that you didn't understand about yourself are going to suddenly make sense. Things that you've been attracted to, but you don't understand why, and you don't know how you know what you know, but you just know, you're going to start to remember why. Things that once piqued your interest, guess what? Guess what? Especially if they're not in resonance with where you're elevating to and what you're remembering, they're going to fall away. And I know this may sound cliche because this is often said, but this is really the truth. A lot of these things, you don't even have to do anything but just be. Because it's like they're not even going to be able to be in your presence. Once you're holding a particular resonance or you're within a particular bandwidth of color, whoever or whatever is not vibrating on that particular band of color cannot get in. Unless you allow them in. So let me take it back, okay? If you are on replay or if you are just jumping on the live, the foundation that we need to understand is we are going to be tapping into the 12-fold architecture. All right, whether it's the 12 zodiacs, the 12 disciples, the 12 disciplines, the 12 directions, the 12 rainbows, it don't matter. Whatever 12 system there is, we're going to be diving into that for the next year. Foundation number one is that you need to know that you are not in an earth's prison. You're not in jail. You're not locked here. You're in earth's prism. PRISM. Do your research. Look it up. Find out what the difference between prison and prism is. You're in a prism. You're in a bandwidth of 12 particular colors that vibrate at a certain frequency that holds certain geometric codes that interact with your nervous system and your DNA. All right, come on. Y'all think I'm playing? Okay, so let me show you how this has been happening to y'all in real time, and you may not even be aware of it. Okay. Go back to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Go back to any, and I even want to say the Wheel of Time. Go back to the Wheel of Time, right? Go back to any major movie, okay, especially if it's a movie with a lot of layers that deals with underworlds and all types of stuff. Pay attention to the color scheme because they tell you exactly what chakra system they're working with when they're doing these movies. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was talking about all of the 7 chakras or all of the 7 major chakra systems that we are aware of. But there are 12 chakra systems that you need to be aware of in this quasi era and as you are dealing in the quantum realm. All right, so there are 5 hidden chakras. Your root chakra is not your first chakra. Your root chakra is your second chakra. Your first chakra is your earth chakra. That is the chakra at the sole of your feet. That is your grounding chakra. Okay? And the reason why you may be feeling like you're in an earth's prison is because a lot of you are not grounded to earth, so you cannot feel the prism, aka the light, the bandwidth that earth carries, that you organically carry within you also. Okay? So, with that being said, the foundation is you need to have the understanding that you are not locked here. Okay? You are stepping into your ancient technology and you are actually coming online. Okay? You are actually coming online. And I know that we've been taught to to fear AI and to fear all of these things, but can I just ask the question, right? Like if you're in the spiritual world and you know that nothing can stop this awakening, and you know that everything is happening for the highest, greatest good, and you know all of this stuff, right? What is there really to be afraid of? Right? So if you know Source created everything, if you know everything links back to Source, is not everything that's here that may be put out here for what your demise or for your downfall, cannot those things be used by Source for your greatest and highest good? They can. So we finna show you how this thing works. But foundation is you need to know that you're not locked into any of this. This is why when you die and you see the white light, that's Source light. So if you go towards the white light, what happens is you're coming back into this earth school, which is a fractal reflection of Source. If you go away from the white light, and you go into, the other end, which would be back to the void, right? That's when you're stepping into other dimension, other worlds, other realms. Your journey on this earth plane is over. Not everybody's going to the same place. Some of you are operating already from 6, 7, and 8D. Some of you are only operating from 4 and 5D. So the worlds and the journey that you will take, right, in 5D is different when you're journeying in worlds in 7 and 8D. And I'm going to make all of this to make sense because a lot of when you hear, oh, we're in 5D and we're in 8D, and I'm like, what the fuck is 5D? What the fuck is 8D? Like, give it to me so I can understand. Like, I need to understand, okay, I'm aware of the system, but tell me how the system works so I can go ahead and master this shit, right? So 3D is your physical realm. This is the realm where you are aware of the physical things, you're aware of your emotions. 4D is where you start to understand time is not linear. Right? 4D is where you begin to remember who you are. 5D is when you begin to also remember that you can manipulate your reality. But there's rules to these realms and these dimensions. And you've already been operating within rules, but you've only gotten, I want to say, half of the rule, right? So there are 3 ways that somebody can be programmed or reprogrammed. And you've been going through this your whole entire life on this earth, right? The 3 ways of this. The first way is through trauma, right? So if you watch a lot of news, you're definitely going to get the trauma from there, right? And that trauma keeps you thinking that you're living in a prison. It don't show you the prism, right? It don't, right? The next one is symbols, and you see symbols all of the time, right? You see symbols all of the time. When you see that golden M, you know what symbol that is, right? When you see a circle with some, lines outside of it, you know that's the sun, right? So you got trauma, you got symbols, and then the last one is repetition, right? 3 ways you can program or reprogram: trauma, symbols, and repetition. So let me tell you which one fucks the nervous system up. The one that messes your nervous system up is the trauma portion, right? But the trauma portion is also the one that can start to activate you for you to tap into who you truly are. This is when you begin to transmute your pain. Okay? This is when you begin to transmute your pain. All right, let me check the chat really quick and then I'm going to pull these cards. Okay. All right, Goddess J said, not even so. Yeah. And Goddess J, honestly speaking, when you learn to be, even the parts of ourselves that we think are flawed, you begin to understand that it's within your imperfections that you find your perfection. It's in your imperfection that you find your perfection. And that's because I said that I'm not in competition with anyone except myself. I don't even think that you have to be in competition with yourself. And if there was a self that you're in competition with, Goddess J, it would be yourself. So even if you felt like you were in competition with somebody, before you had, an awakening moment, you were really not in competition with anybody. You were really in competition with yourself. Okay, you were really just in competition with yourself. And here's the secret. You don't even have to be in competition with yourself. You can just be. Yeah, you can just be. You absolutely can just be. Okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the poll now. All right, because I've done the intuitive message. So we're going to go ahead and confirm what the cards have to say. Okay. Yeah, Goddess J, just be. Just be. Just be. And let me just so I have come to the point where I know that I operate on an archetype that can be controlling, right? Scorpios that energy and that archetype has some controlling patterns in there. And because I'm aware of that, right, I don't beat myself up for that. I recognize it. So it could be something with the kids and they'll look at me and be like, I'm doing too much. Am I being too controlling? And they'll be like, yeah. And I catch it. I don't beat myself up. So I catch it in real time. So that way I understand, I can control what I do, but I can't control what anybody else is doing, right? But even that controlling nature can work for me, right? Because what happens in situations where I need to exercise control, it's easier for me to exercise that control. It's easy for me to exercise that control, right? So your flaws are also your strength. Your ego, when they say death to the ego, your ego is not supposed to die and go away. Your ego is supposed to die to transmute. Because you cannot get rid of your ego. Getting rid of your ego is like getting rid of your protection. Getting rid of your ego is getting rid of your masculine side. Your ego represents your masculine energy. Your spirit represents your feminine energy. You need both of them to come together to operate in your Christ-like energy, your Christos energy, or your Sophianic energy. Okay, which is Sophia, the wisdom energy, mother energy. Okay? All right, so if you have not been here when we have done these readings, let me just go ahead and walk you through how I do these readings, okay? So, you're going to hear 4 tones, all right? That is on purpose, and here's why. Okay, everything is energy and everything is geometry. I am going to make 4 tones, all right, for the 4 elements because we're constantly operating in these elements. We're going to learn all of that too, okay? Now, the first tone you're going to hear is going to be the tone for the air element, which has to do with your thoughts. This is your thinking your logical side, your decision-making side. Air energy. That's the first tone. Second tone you're going to hear is going to be for the water element. This element represents your intuition, your spirit, your feelings, and your creativity. All right, so we want to bring the tone to clear that field also. Third tone is going to be for the fire element. That tone represents action, movement. Okay. Last tone that you're going to hear is going to be for the earth element. That represents the physical world, your manifestations, okay? Tangible things. Let me say this. If you hear a fifth tone, that is because one of the tones was flat and I did not clear the static. So I would bring that tone again, all right? Remember, we are operating from the earth being a prism. Each prism or each color band has sacred geometry and is linked to a tone. All right, so there are 12 tones. All right, so we're going to get into that as we progress throughout the year, but I'm going to clear the energy and we're going to tap into what the collective reading is right now. Okay, now here we go. First tone. Oh, that hit my body really good, y'all. Ooh, that hit my body really good. Okay, okay, so let's open the transmission and see what the message is going to be confirmed with, okay? Bottom of the deck is integration. I've been talking pretty much about this for like 35 minutes now, right? Understanding that you are not separate from everything, and everything that you've learned we need to now put together. We need to integrate everything. That's just at the bottom of the deck, right? But we're going to shuffle this energy and see what the tone of this message is going to be, all right? So the first card is going to represent the tone, what's being activated right now in your field, okay? Ooh, shit, this is a good one. Oh my gosh, this is a good one. I don't think we've ever gotten the prosperity tone yet. This is the prosperity tone. This is the vibration of this message, right? Remember I told you this message we're talking about, the earth is not a prison, it's a prism. And the tone that's confirming that is the tone of prosperity. Once you step into that wisdom, that inner knowing that you're in a prism, a rainbow color of light with frequencies and tones and geometry that you're able to ebb and flow in and out of and live in a beautiful reality that you can create mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all of that, right? And it's not amiss from me that this is also card number 36. 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 is the number of completion, okay? All right, so the tone of this message confirming energy is prosperity. And it says the frequency of prosperity supports our feelings of well-being by allowing the inclusion of everything that makes our body, mind, heart, souls, and spirit sing. It invites us to express ourselves in joy and celebration of all of the abundance and riches that the universe provides. Okay, I can't really. I just like when the energy is confirmed, right? I just talked for this about 35 minutes to let you know that you're not locked in no prison. Like you're not. You're not. That teaching that we are locked in a prison, that's a half truth, and we're no longer dealing in distortion. Okay? We're no longer dealing in distortion. We're no longer seeking outside of ourselves for validation. All right? You know, our newfound standing, right? Our newfound standing that we man in our square with is what? No longer seeking external validation. All we need is internal validation because truth does not seek external validation. Truth needs internal validation, but truth is going to provide external verification. Okay? Truth don't need nobody to verify, to validate that it's true. But what it is going to do is have somebody verify that it's true. Okay? All right, so prosperity is yours to have, whether that's money, whether that's relationships, whether that's time back, right? Whether that's happiness, whether that's health, whether that's getting rid of anxiety, getting rid of depression, whether that's being able for you to go actually be able to see a therapist on a consistent basis because your mental health is not something that you take seriously. You see, because it's no longer just important for you to know what your fucking problems are, right? So it's no longer important for you just to know, oh, well, you know, my mama did this and my daddy did this and then, you know, my last relationship did this and this is why I'm like this. Okay, I get it. I get it. Absolutely. Like if I tell you my stories, some of my stories, if I tell you some of my stories, y'all, my stories could be like Hallmark movies. Shit, some of them could even be superhero movies. The point I'm trying to make is we all got a story. We all got a birthing process. But it's no longer okay for you just to run down the things that are wrong with you and not do any work to heal those parts of yourself. So you want to heal relationship and somebody to love you and somebody to, you know, just embrace you when you're not healed yourself and you're not loving yourself and you're not embracing yourself. You cannot get that reflection person to show up in your life if this is not something that you're honoring yourself with. One of the things I do is I come on here and I try to be very transparent with y'all, okay? My last relationship, y'all, I needed that experience. It was painful as hell. And it left me with no words for 2 months, y'all, okay? And I had to start over from scratch. From scratch. Financially, mentally, emotionally. But what I discovered as I was in my healing process was this. I kept on saying to the universe, I want to, you know, a really like spiritual relationship, you know, and then we even got to believe what I believe, you know, like, I don't, you know, like once they just have a foundation and source, you know, I don't really care if they, you know, Christian, you know, they just can't force that on me, but whatever they believe, you know, I just want to be seen, you know, like just the way I see people, I just want to be seen, you know, the way I thought I saw people. So as I'm going through my healing and I'm sitting with myself and I'm talking to spirit, I'm like, I don't understand why, you know, people don't see me the way that I think they should. And then this is what came back and popped up in my spirit, y'all. Well, how do you expect people to see you when you don't even see yourself? You don't want to be seen. And I said, wait. What you mean I don't want to be seen? And I had to sit with that. And then when I asked that question, what you mean I don't want to be seen? An incident popped up when I was about 10 and 12 years old that happened in my childhood. And from that incident, and I talked about the incident in the past live, I'm not going to get into it now, but that incident from between 10 and 12 years old taught me that the best way for me to not get my feelings hurt or to protect myself was to shrink and not be seen. Right? So this happened at 12. So now I'm going through my life thinking like, why I can't attract, you know, why? Because for a year and a half, maybe even 2, when I was in hermit mode, that was the one thing I would say to Kelly and, you know, and Tanya and Danielle. And I'm like, it's very interesting how people see me because I could not get for the life of me how people were coming up with these things, like how they saw me. Until my healing process this year when I recognized that I myself didn't want to be seen, right? So I was showing up in spaces and not fully showing who I was, shrinking my spiritual gifts, not speaking my truth, not speaking the wisdom because I didn't want to have somebody feel a certain way. I didn't want to look too smart. I didn't want people to feel uncomfortable. Fuck that shit. I'm showing up as me. I've done the work. I cannot be bothered because somebody else feel away because I put in the work and you see this glow and this anointing. Do you know what it felt like when I had to sit? And let me just tell y'all something, okay? I think I spent 6 months in my bathroom last year. That was my sacred space. That was a space that didn't have windows, so, I could get quiet. I could be still. And I'm in a wonderful place. Like, I'm in a really wonderful place. But I was just talking to Kia about this the other day because she was like, girl, I've been spending a lot of time just hovering in the bathroom. I'm like, girl, me too. Like, I got a whole setup in the bathroom, y'all. Like a whole setup. I even got my vibrational plate in the bathroom. I be working out in my bathroom. Meditating, just spending time with me and Source. I say all of this to say, now I show up as me. I cannot. And before my daddy passed, he used to say, if other people have a problem with you, that's their problem. You can't make other people's problem with you your problem. So this energy that we're stepping into 2026, guess what? You cannot make other people's problem that they have with you your problem. You're going to have to be able to step into your prosperity authentically as who you are, flaws and all. Remembering that it is in your imperfections that you find your perfection, baby. Sometimes you don't even know how fucking beautiful you can make a situation until you go through what you think is the worst transition in your life. Transitions are birthing process if you allow them to be. They can birth you into prosperity if you allow them to be. Don't nobody walk through life not having to deal with shit. Everybody got to deal with something. Everybody has a story. And the minute that I think my story is worse than somebody else, trust me, somebody could tap you on the shoulder and let you know that your shit is nothing compared to their shit. Allow your prosperity to come in. And prosperity doesn't have to necessarily be finances. It could just be you loving yourself for you authentically. You learning not how to be a people pleaser and shrinking yourself back. You learning not how to operate in shame and guilt because of other people keeping you hostage in past mistakes that you've made. You learning how to walk into a room and not shrink yourself down. You learning to be okay with your look, okay with your body, okay with your education, okay with whatever. Shit, it is what it is. You learning just to be in the isness. Find the beauty in the isness. Find you in your isness. You are not stuck in a prison. You're stuck in a prism of light. And you've now entered into the realm of the fourth and the fifth dimensional. Some of you are higher, but the collective, Earth collective, the 8 billion people on this earth, they're shifting through 4 and 5D. And some people jumping over to 5D without thinking you gotta go through 4D first. And this is what's gonna fuck you up because you keep hearing 5D, 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 but you don't know you gotta go through 4D. And 4D is where you gain your memory back. 4D is where time starts to collapse on itself. 4D is where the Mandela effect, oh, and that's another thing. That Mandela effect, baby, if you don't know about the Mandela effect, look it up. Look it up. It's going to be in full effect next year. Okay? Deja vu is going to be in full effect next year. Remembering things from past lifetimes is going to be in full effect next year. Waking up and not even feeling or knowing what day it is going to be explosive next year. Your body being able to tell you what's coming before it actually comes is going to be explosive next year. This is why I'm here to help you regulate your nervous system, because some people are going to short out. Shit, some people are already shorting out. You see how people can go from 0 to 1,000 just for little shit because maybe you forgot the peanut butter? You forgot to buy peanut butter? Or you took the last peanut butter off the shelf and the person in the store, just spazzed the fuck out because you got the last peanut butter? Who spazzes out over peanut butter? I'm not saying that really happened, y'all, but I'm just telling you that's the type of energy that we in, okay? People just don't have control of their emotional bodies, and I've been telling y'all this for years. Whoever controls you mentally or emotionally, you are their puppet. They're the puppet master. That energy is now in full-blown effect. Full-blown effect. Okay? Become your own independent thinker and your own independent feeler in this energy. That is going to be necessary. Okay? Necessary. All right. The looping energy that you have here next to prosperity that you need to be mindful about. And let me just say, this looping energy is happening on the 3D realm, right? Because in the 3D realm, this is the energy where you are in survival mode. 3D realm is where you're in survival mode. The MIB energy just simply means this is energy of having to confront things. This is energy maybe of gossiping energy. This is energy of pettiness. This is the energy of tricks, right? This is old energy trying to keep you from your new experiences. This MIB energy is old energy from the 3D realm that's trying to keep you from your prosperity. This is the new tone that we've stepped into. This is the looping energy. You're going to have to confront some things, right? People might start saying that you acting funny. You might find that you can't entertain old conversation that's fear-based anymore because they're keeping you away from here. You may find that you can't even entertain being around certain people anymore because they're keeping you from this tone. Your prosperity is happening in the 4 and 5D realm. This MIB energy is happening in the 3D realm. The 3D realm is your survival realm. This is the survival of the fittest. This is the fear realm. This is the anxiety realm. This is the I got to see it before I believe it realm. Not over here. This is the energy that's being echoed to the collective now. You get to choose how you want to prosper. But this is the looping tone that you need to be mindful of. Okay? That is a looping tone you need to be mindful of. Remember, if you're operating from Earth is not a prison, but it's a prism, you will be able to navigate any of this. All right? Let's see where this energy is unfolding. All right? Let's see where this energy is unfolding. All right. So you know the past is trying to stop you from your prosperity. All right? We know that. 2 cards are jumping out. Whoo! I cannot make this shit up. Okay? Y'all see how this is unfolding? So prosperity is the new tone, right? As you ascend, aka remember who you are, right? Then we have the MIB, which is the old tone on the 3D realm that keeps you stuck in lower vibrational stuff, things that you got to confront, right? Things that you got to deal with. How is this unfolding, though? In your faith and in your flow. You're going to have to get to a place where there's an inner gnosis, or I don't even use like this particular spelling of faith. I like to use FATE, different definitions. Look them up, you'll see. Right? So this is period over here, which you just need to know that even though you can't see it in this 3D realm yet, it's already done in the 4 and 5D, right? In the quantum realm, right? Every possibility exists. And when we're dealing with prisms and not a prison, right? An earth prism and not an earth prison, there is no obstacle or nothing. Okay, let me just give y'all this myth right here. Okay, check this out. There cannot be questions without answers when you're operating from the 4 and the 5D realm. Down here in the 3D realm, you may think that you got to look for the answers, right? Or the question comes before the answer. No, 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 no. When you operating from 4 and 5D, baby, let me explain something to you. Simultaneously, the answers and the questions are formed because you can't have one without the next. So anything that you're going through that you feel like you need a solution for, baby, it's already there. But you got to be able to see that. You got to see that, because part of the rule is what you do not give yourself permission to have, to experience, to be, to embrace, to love, to release. You don't have access to it. You don't. The looping energy is get out of your fear. Confront what needs to be confronted. Stop replaying things in your head and in your spirit that does not match where you want to go. How does this play out in your real world? If you want a healthy relationship, don't watch things that does not resonate healthy relationships. If you want less anxiety and more peace in your life, don't watch things that brings more anxiety and chaos in your life. Don't listen to those things. You start to reprogram yourself, right? Because listening to things that's going to make you more anxious, guess what? Guess what you're doing? You're repeating the trauma. So you're doing 3 things at once, right? You're repeating the trauma. You're paying attention to the symbols, because if you're watching the video, you're watching the symbolism. So you're operating in all 3 things at the same time, right? There's a mechanics to this. Are you forcing things to flow, or are you allowing the flow? In this quasi era, listen, you're going to have to learn you can't force shit. There's an isness to it. It is what it is. And everything is. You don't need to seek external validation. Internal validation is the way to go, because your internal validation of truth is going to produce external validation. External verification. Okay? Are you forcing things, or are you allowing things to flow? When you resonating on things, honey, sometimes that resonance goes out, that sound goes out way before you can see a physical anything. Have you ever had somebody drive by in a car and they playing that music in the bass? And even before you can probably make the words out, you can feel that bass coming down. You can't hear all of the words, but you can feel that bass, that sound is coming before you can hear the words. Right? You are the sound. Your words are the light embodiment of your sound. Are you allowing things to flow in your life? Are you forcing people, situations, places, things like, you know? Sometimes your rejection is for your protection. Sometimes your rejection is for your elevation. Sometimes that thing that hurts you the most is that thing that pays you the most. Whether it's in wisdom, whether it's in money, whether it's in freedom. When you're dealing with this, even this band right here of energy, the violet energy band is crown chakra energy. Pure communication from source. Pure communication from source. This aqua, like bluish energy, that bandwidth, this is the emotional energy. Are you allowing things to flow, or are you holding on to tension? If your body is tight, that means you have energetic tension in your body. That means that there's something going on in your body that you have not released, you have not embraced, you have not accepted, you have not surrendered to. Okay? So this is where it's unfolding. Crown chakra energy, okay? And I know blue is for throat chakra energy, but this aqua color here, we're going to put this between the throat chakra and we're going to put it between the heart chakra energy, okay? Are you speaking your truth? Or you're feeling your truth? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we are going to see how you need to navigate this energy, okay? Oh, I took those cards upstairs. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's use these. Let's use these. All right. How you need to navigate this energy. Okay, we doing the jumping card. All right, ooh. Mercury, messages, communication. The way for you to navigate this energy is communication. We just talked about your words being your what? Your sound produces what? We just talked about this. Your sound producing light, your words, your messages. What messages are you telling yourself? What messages are you receiving? What kind of communication are you having with other people? What conversations are you having with yourself about yourself? What conversation are you having with yourself about other people? What conversations are you having in your head about the opinions that other people told you about yourself that you agreed to? Or the messages that you're receiving, are they flowing or are they bringing tension? So, all right, so, okay, come on. Give me some real-time steps on how I can even begin to understand what you're saying. All right, let me map it out for you. Right, because I love me some real-time examples so you can see how this energy flows, right? So let's do a summary of how the energy is portraying. Let's do a summary. The tone that we started out with is that we've entered into a new level dimensionally of energy. We discussed that everything on earth is not prison vibe, it's prism vibe, okay? Your homework is to go research the difference between prison and prism. It's called study to show thyself approved. It's called know thyself, okay? And then you your own guru. So you want to take what I'm saying and you want to go ahead and you want to validate it within yourself and then verify it externally. Okay? Your job is to take what I'm sharing and add it to your unfolding and how it needs to be added. I'm Kamoy, I ain't Jesus. I'm a sage from ancient times, but guess what? Sages from ancient times, we knew that you still had to do your work, baby. We can bring in this energy to balance the field, but if you don't balance your own personal field, can nothing be done about that. So if you don't think you're prosperous, and if you don't think you could be supported in this journey, it's nothing anybody can say that will motivate you or inspire you if you don't think you can. So the tone is your prosperity. Whether it's finances, relationship, health, money, it don't matter, right? It's saying this is what is available to you now in the collective. But it's also saying you have a looping energy that's playing at the same time on an old timeline that's trying to keep you stuck. Whether it's through intimidation, whether it's through stalking you with the old repetitive thoughts, whether it's through lying because there's no truth here in this energy. This energy is about intimidation. This energy is also asking you to confront some things. It's asking you to communicate and confront some things. And the communication sometimes, so this is the thing. Sometimes we think that we need to have these closure conversations with people. And a lot of times you don't. You just need to have that closure conversation with yourself. Especially if you've expressed and really spoken about whatever it is several times. Sometimes the best conversation that you can have is a silent conversation because there's a lot that's said in silence. There's no such thing as just silence. Within silence, there's so much being unfolded. You got prosperity available to you, but you got shit from the past that's trying to hold you back. right? That's trying to hold you back. This is unfolding in areas that's going to cause you to question your faith. And remember, we have already established that a lot of this is unfolding through relationships. Relationship with yourself, relationship with family members, relationship with co-workers, relationship with in-laws. All of this is unfolding through relationships. This is how you master this shit. Your nervous system is being activated not just through the energy coming through the cosmos, but also your relationships. Where your fate at? Are you allowing things to flow? You're still holding on to people, situation, things that's trying to exit your life, because you can't hold on here if prosperity is trying to come in, right? So if you're being elevated into remembrance and you're being elevated to really walk into your true path, but you have a circle of people around you, right, that sucks your energy, right? So they call you and they dump all of their negative shit on you. Don't get you to tap in for you to talk about your day, right? It's all about them. And then they get off the phone and you wonder why you're feeling drained. That's old energy. That's 3D energy. So your relationships moving forward needs to be reciprocal. You cannot be out here doing your work and living in your prosperity, but giving energy to people that pull away from you. That's not going to work. Are you speaking your truth? And remember, the foundation is always going to start from inner truth. What inner truth are you telling yourself? Like, so if we just explain, right, I just explained to you that you cannot get to 5D without first going through 4D, fourth dimensional energy. Fourth dimensional energy is responsible for you remembering who you are, as well as you understanding timelines and time shifts. When you get into the 5D is when you begin to understand that you can create your reality, right? So how can, but here's the thing. You cannot take fear over here into 4 and 5D shit. And this is what's going to drive a lot of people crazy in 2026, right? Because we are in 4D energy frequency right now, but a lot of people are operating in an old faith-based system that makes you think you're a sinner, you're going to hell. And the world is going to hell, and the world is a prison. And guess what? Universal law is that you can only have that in which you give yourself permission to have. So if you out here thinking that you live in a prison, guess what? You're going to have prison-like experiences. But if you out here embracing that you're in a color spectrum of prisms that have intelligence, consciousness is universal intelligence. And it's not just out in the ether, as it resides in your body, your DNA, your nervous system, your fucking breath. Your breath. Your inhale and exhale is part of your technology. Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that your breath is part of how you work your technology? This is why it's important for me to let you know that you're not in a fucking prison. Earth is not a prison. It's a prism. Prism. Google it. Look it up. And each one of these, you can operate in and allow it to flow. But you're not going to be able to get into these higher dimensions and be whole and not fractured if you're still operating in an old system. You are a sovereign being. Before you can find anybody to really love you to the depths in which you desire to be loved, you have to love yourself to those depths. Before you can really begin to have anybody to understand you in the depths in which you wish to be understood, first you have to understand yourself in those depths. We're now in energy where we're on resonance-based energy, which means people are going to be reflecting back to your deepest truth. That's why a lot of you can't deal with the surface relationships no more. You can't deal with the surface conversations anymore. You can't deal with people that are not authentic anymore. You can't deal with energy vampires anymore. I remember who I am. And now that I remember who I am, I remember why I'm here, and I'm so thankful that you guys remembering who you are too. This channel is not by coincidence. The lighthouse has now been turned on. I now remember, and therefore, if you are here, you are remembering also. Welcome, my wonderful, wonderful soul traveling gurus. Welcome. I'm so happy. I miss you guys. You know how much lifetimes I've been waiting for this, y'all. For this exact moment, we've been waiting for this exact moment for lifetimes. Welcome, my wonderful, wonderful gurus, my soul traveling gurus. Okay. So I'm gonna be really honest with you. If y'all could go ahead and put a thumbs up on this video, that would be very, very helpful for me. Okay. And then I also want you guys to know I'm finna get on the plane in the morning to go see my mama with my empty suitcase, like she asked me to. My mama told me to bring my empty suitcase because she got a lot of clothes and shoes for me. Okay. Her birthday's on Thursday, and I'm looking forward to spending this time with my mom. I miss my mom, and she is an amazing person to hang out with. We're gonna have a lot of fun. With that being said, on the 21st of December is when we are going to start our kickoff of the 12-fold mastery archetype, the 12-fold archetype mastery, right? Where we're tapping into all systems of 12 and how they are relevant to our awakening process right now, or what you want to call our remembering process right now. These are systems that will be very, very, very helpful to you in the next coming years. Okay, we have now stepped into a time where you have to learn how to read things on an energetic level, okay, first before it appears on a physical level. All right. If you're an empath, if you are a soul traveler that's here seeking, this is the next step of your elevation, which is to be able to read subtle energy. Okay. Now, with that being said, I am not back in Georgia until Monday, and I cannot guarantee you guys that I am going to be able to jump on the live. I have not done any pre-posting of the video. What I'm finding on my end that I am really just to trying different things every day is, one, I cannot find the cards that I would like to use to do these readings the way that I would like to do them, which means that I need to create my own deck of cards, okay? And there are right now I'm up to 14 different system of 12s, okay? Which means I probably need 14 decks, right? But I can probably do it maybe with 7 decks, right? Because I can probably do it with 7 decks and maybe split each deck in half. But anyway, I need to create my own tarot cards for this particular 12-fold architecture, man, because I can't find the cards that has the information that I need to show you guys, okay? Which means that's going to take me some time. So in the meantime, what you guys are going to see me doing is using the cards that I think are closer to what I would like to bring to you guys, right? These messages are going to have the same structure, okay? So we're going to look at the tone of the energy. We're going to look at the looping energy. We're going to look at where the energy is unfolding. We're going to look at how to navigate the energy. And then we're going to close out the reading with the message from spirit, okay? Now, the one things that you guys need to know is that you are not here to get caught into any system. You're here to remember the systems because they're locked into your DNA. They're locked into you already, right? You're just here to remember the systems and to start the proper operation within your body. Your nervous system is the engine in which fuels all of this. So if you're walking around and you're anxious, if you're walking around and you're depressed, if you're walking around and you're sad, if you're walking around and you are feeling angry, okay, those are working against you. Your nervous system cannot operate fully coherently if you are in anxious or anxiety or stress mode with your cortisol's up, okay? So we're going to be unpacking how you can move through your nervous system and what part of the nervous system is responsible for what, okay? So I can't find these cards out here, so I'm going to have to create them myself, all right? So I say all of that to say, you guys may not hear from me until Monday. I'm going to try and do a video maybe tonight before I leave and post it. And I say that because my mom is a Christian, y'all. Okay, she's not comfortable with me doing the cards. Okay, and I don't want to make my mama uncomfortable. Okay, she already lets me be me, but this right here is gonna kind of make her feel uncomfortable. Okay, so she knows I get on here and do cards already, but it does. I don't want to make my mother uncomfortable in her own home. So I don't know. I'm not going to be doing cards. I might jump on and do an inspirational video and tap into the energy energetically, but I also can't promise you I'm going to do that because my mom is a, how do I put this? She not going to want to share me, y'all. Okay? I'm going to be honest. She not going to want to share me. Okay, she gonna want to know why I didn't do all of that before I left that land, and I know I was coming to spend her birthday with her, and how I plan on working when I'm supposed to be taking the time off. She's not finna hear that. She not finna hear that. Okay, so I'm not back until Monday night. Okay, so we probably won't be touching bases until Tuesday. All right, but I want to be honest because I don't want to make myself anxious, promising you guys that I'm gonna post and then I don't do it, and then I'm not finna do that to myself. Okay, I'm back. I am. Okay, but we gonna have a break for a few days. Okay, because I'm finna go see my mama. All right. So I don't want y'all to think because I'm not back until probably next Tuesday that I'm off the internet. No, I'm not. I gotta go see my mama, and she's not comfortable with the cards, and I'm not going to make my mom uncomfortable in her own house, because she does not. This is not her style of divination, okay? So I don't want to make my mom uncomfortable, okay? So with that being said, I can't guarantee any videos until Tuesday or any lives until Tuesday, all right? So please sit with this information, all right? Do your research about prism and prison. Earth is not a prison, it's a prism. And as we begin to build our collection of the 12-fold architecture mastery, right? You will have more understanding of how to work these different prism bands, okay? Or color bands, all right? All right, so Spirit's message is be open to the change that's here. Let it flow. Stop trying to hold on to things that's trying to make an exit. Stop trying to hold on to people. Stop trying to make excuses for people. Stop making excuses for yourself. Shit. If you don't want to fuck with somebody no more, that's just what it is. You don't want to fuck with them no more. You know why. If you don't want to be a people pleaser no more, you don't want to be a people pleaser no more. You know why. If you don't want to go hang over here no more, you don't want to go hang over there no more. You know why. All that over-explaining that you felt you needed to do in the past, baby, you don't got to do that no more. Just show up as you. Show up as you. Spend some time with you. Do you know what you like? Do you know what type of wine you like? Do you know what your favorite color is? Do you even have a favorite color? Where would you go if you had infinite funds just available to you? Have you ever daydreamed about having infinite funds? What type of relationship you want? You know, like, get into you. Get into you. Okay. On that note, my loves, I love you guys so much, my wonderful, wonderful soul traveling gurus, okay? Check this out. Y'all know the deal, okay? I'm going to wrap this up because I still got 3 loads of laundry to do, and I need to be at the airport by 4:30 in the morning, all right? Go ahead. Do something kind for yourself, my love, because you absolutely should. You should. Don't wait for somebody to do it for you. Do it for yourself. Teach people how to love you the way you love yourself. And I'm talking about the organic, being whole and filled from within love, not where you're looking outside of other people to validate you. Validate yourself and then have other people to verify what you already know, right? Now, the next thing is you want to go ahead and do something kind for somebody, not because you should, not because you should, but because you can. Happiness is contagious. Friendliness is contagious. A smile goes a long way, right? Confidence is contagious, right? So go ahead and do something kind for somebody, not because you should, but because you can. And I'm going to see you guys, if not when I'm back from my mama, maybe on the trip, okay? But more than likely, it's probably not going to be until Tuesday. I don't want to even get up on here and gaslight y'all and lie. And I do not want to have myself in an anxiety tantrum because I told you guys that I was going to be able to do something, and I'm not going to. I'm not doing that. Okay, so let's just go ahead and say we'll see each other on Tuesday. Okay, but if we see each other before then, it's just icing it on the cake. All right. All right, my loves. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, Miss Kim. I will see you guys on Tuesday. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Okay. Love is contagious. All right, my loves. See you guys Tuesday. Bye, my loves.